Tervetuloa Suomi, welcome to Finland. Please join us as we dive into a pestle analysis of this beautiful country. Finland is one of the world's northernmost countries. It is a Nordic country situated between Sweden, Norway, and Russia. Finland has the third lowest population density of any European country and has only 28 inhabitants per square kilometer, compared with the 57 inhabitants per square kilometer in the US. With a little over 5.5 million people living in Finland, there are actually more saunas than people. Finland is known for many unique practices, including Finnish baby boxes, high-ranked educational systems, Marimekko design house, the highest number of heavy metal bands per capita, progressive maternal leave policies, the Nokia Corporation, and Angry Birds. Please join our group of international business analysts as we explore Finland as a potential for future business endeavors.
The political system in Finland is a multi-party system. The president is the head of state and the prime minister is the head of government. Just like the United States, Finland has three branches of government: the executive, legislative, and judicial. In the executive branch, power is divided between the president and the prime minister. The prime minister is elected by parliament and appointed to office by the president. The president of Finland can serve a maximum 2 6-year terms, while the president of the United States can serve a maximum 2 4-year terms. The legislative branch in Finland is called the Eduskunta. The Eduskunta holds the 200 unicameral members, while the United States has a bicameral house known as Congress, with 535 members. The judicial branch in Finland currently has 19 Supreme Court justices, while the United States has 9. Just like the United States, Finland justices are appointed for life. However, in Finland, the requirement age for justices is set at 70, while the United States does not have an age requirement for retirement. Despite differences in the United States and Finland political system, nothing is as crucial as the election process of the president. In Finland, the popular vote appoints the president, while in the United States, the Electoral College appoints the president. On a corruption scale from 0 to 100, 0 meaning corruption and 100 meaning no corruption, Finland scores 90, while the United States scores a 76. Rule of law is on a scale from negative 2.5, meaning weak rule of law, and positive 2.5, meaning strong rule of law. Finland's rule of law is 2.12, while the United States is 1.62. Finland has a much higher political stability than the United States. However, from 2004 to 2005, the United States had a negative political stability. Freedom House has a scale from 1 to 7, 1 being free and 7 being not free. As of 2017, the United States and Finland both rank first in political rights, freedom ratings, and civil liberties.
From here, let's look at the economic analysis of Finland. Let's start by looking at the degree of economic freedom of Finland. The Heritage Foundation Index of Economic Freedom ranked Finland with almost the equivalent score with the US at 72.6% versus the US at 75.4%. When we look at the trend of this spectrum, we will find that Finland has shown significant improvement versus the US, which has declined considerably within the last 20 years. Overall, Finland is ranked at the 24th freest economy in the world. Finland has a highly industrialized, largely free market economy with per capita output almost as high as that of Austria, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Sweden. The current GDP is at 232 billion versus the US at 18.3 trillion. As we can see, the US GDP has grown exponentially compared to Finland. As the chart indicates, the Finland's trend appears somewhat flat relatively compared to the US. If we take a closer look at Finland's GDP alone, in the last 50 years, it has showed marginal growth rate during the late 80s to early 90s, followed by considerable gain between 2000 to the end of 2011. It had been in slight overall decline since 2012. Finland had been one of the best performing economies within the EU in recent years, and its banks and financial markets avoided the worst of the global financial crisis. However, the world slowdown hit exports and domestics hard in 2009, with Finland experiencing one of the deepest contractions in the Eurozone. The GNI per capita PPP of Finland is 46,500 compared to the US 56,000. Overall, the Finnish income level has slightly lowered, but it has kept pace with the US for a number of years. The unemployment rate has been rising in Finland and it's currently slightly high at 8.7%. In contrast, the unemployment rate has been declining in the US and it's currently at 4.9%. The inflation rate of Finland shows similarities with the US. It has overall been on decline since its rise in 2011. Foreign direct investments are lower when compared to the US, both in and outflows. Yearly inflows and outflows have been on a negative trend, as seen in the chart. Finland is strongly competitive in manufacturing, principally the wood, metal, engineering, telecommunications, and electronics industries. The top trade partners of Finland are Germany, Sweden, Russia, US, China, and Netherlands. The top import partners being Germany, Sweden, Russia, China, the Netherlands, and top export partners are Germany, Sweden, US, and the Netherlands and Russia in order. Except for timber and several minerals, Finland depends on imports of raw materials, energy, and some components of manufactured goods. The major imports for Finland are mineral fuels and oils, machinery and mechanical appliances, electrical machinery and vehicles and commodities, whereas the major exports are machinery and mechanical appliances, paper and paperboard, electrical machinery, iron and steel, and mineral fuels and oils.
At this time, we will discuss the sociocultural analysis of Finland utilizing information obtained through a combination of Hofstede's cultural dimensions and general socio-demographic data. As seen, the ethnicity of Finland is 93.4%, and over 97% of the population speaks Finnish. Similarly, 73% of the population religiously identify as Lutheran. With such a homogeneous society, Finland lacks the internal diversity that can sometimes be found in other cultures. This should allow a company a less complex cultural adjustment while entering Finland over entering another foreign country with a more diverse sociocultural internal breakdown.
Suomi on pieni maa, jossa on 5,5 miljoonaa ihmistä. Kansa on hyvin homogeeninen, 73% luterilaisia ja pääosa on etnisesti suomalaisia. Suomalaiset ovat ylpeitä maastaan ja perheestään. Suomi on feministinen maa, jossa sukupuolet ovat tasa-arvoisia. Suomessa oli naispresidentti ennen USAta, Tarja Halonen, joka on Conan O'Brienin näköinen. He uskovat tasa-arvoiseen hyvinvointiyhteiskuntaan, joka tarjoaa ilmaisen koulutuksen, sairausvakuutuksen ja lastenhoidon. Palkallinen äitiysloma on 105 päivää ja äiti voi olla kotona, kunnes lapsi on 3 vuotta ja pitää työpaikansa. Valtio maksaa jokaisesta alaikäisestä lapsesta lapsilisää tuloista riippumatta.
Next, we will review Hofstede's cultural dimensions. Companies looking to expand into Finland will need to be acutely aware of the higher Finnish score in the uncertainty avoidance category while organizing project planning. Based on these scores, Finnish people tend to be more adverse to uncertainty than their U.S. counterparts. Now I ask that you pay attention to individualism and masculinity. The Finnish score on these two elements, which present the largest gap from U.S. scores in the same category, will most likely present the biggest challenge to a U.S. company looking to expand their business into the Finnish market. American companies will need to evaluate how their current company leave and compensation policies stand with the cultural expectations of the Finnish people. Extended parental leave and benefits will most likely need to be added to the budget projections if a company hopes to recruit and retain employees with the level of expertise and excellence that would be desired for the success of the company.
Let's take a look at technology in Finland. Research and development expenditure. Finland's percentage of GDP has been steadily increasing over the years. Comparatively to the United States, Finland has been leading over the years in percentage of GDP. According to statistics, Finland research and development expenditure amounted to 6.1 billion euros in 2015. Scientific and technical journal articles. Over the years, Finland has been steadily in terms of scientific and technical journal articles. As far for the US, there was a significant amount of decrease in 2004, followed by a high increase in 2006, and has been steady ever since. Patents in Finland. If we take a look at the graph, Finland over the past 10 years has been steady when it comes to applications for patents for residents that compared to the residents of the United States. The number of applications in Finland has been below 2,000. On the other hand, United States has been above 150,000. Let's move on to environmental in Finland. Looking at the Environmental Performance Index, Finland scores 90.68, which puts them at number 1 spot out of 180. The United States scores 84.72 with a ranking of 26 out of 180. Finland, after looking at all environmental factors, is the number 1 country. According to the Environmental Performance Index 2016, Finland is the greenest country in the world. Finland performed very well in the areas of health impacts, water and sanitation, and biodiversity and habitat. This report shows there are promising global trends in health impacts, access to drinking water and sanitation, while air quality and fisheries are growing concerns. The United States and Finland both rank low in forests. These two countries lack forestries, which shows in the rank out of 180. Finland ranks the highest in health impacts compared to the United States. Water and sanitation for both the United States and Finland are comparatively equal.
The legal system in Finland came to be when Finland was under Swedish rule, hence the law system in Finland is based on the Swedish civil law system, while the United States uses the common law system. According to the International Property Rights Index, Finland scores an 8.4 on a scale from 0 to 10, while the United States scores a 7.7. The overall physical property rights score for Finland is 7.6, while the United States score is 7.3. Physical property rights measures three subcomponents: protection of physical property, registering property, and access to loan. In Finland, both protection of physical property and registering property score 9, while access to loan scores 5. However, the United States scores a 7.6 in protection of physical property, 9.5 in registering property, and 4.9 in access to loan. The intellectual property rights graph shows very little to no difference in scores for Finland and the United States. In fact, in 2016, both Finland and the United States had a score of 8.6. Intellectual property rights has three subcomponents as well. These are protection of intellectual property rights, patent protection, and copyright protection. Respectively, Finland scores an 8.9, 9.3, and 7.6, while the United States scores 7.9, 9.8, and 8.2.
Let's take a look at the SWOT analysis of Finland. Strengths. Some strengths of Finland are prudent economic policies, skilled workforce, and favorable business climate, cutting-edge industries such as technology and high standards of living. Weaknesses. Industrial crisis and loss of competitiveness. In 2017, the government's priority will remain focused on the fight against unemployment and the revival of the industrial sector, which continues to suffer from low competitiveness. A competitiveness pact was signed with social partners in late 2016 with the aim of reducing unit labor costs by 4% in 2017. Opportunities. Enhancing the impact of research, promoting demand for innovations by public measures. Finland has developed the innovation policy consistently. One of the strengths of Finnish innovation environment is the active and successful dialogue involving companies, research institutions, and the public sectors. Threats. Finland is highly dependent on global networks. Finland's economy is increasingly dependent on the functioning of international networks and logistics systems. The worst-class threat scenario is a situation where critical imported goods or services are temporarily unavailable.
In conclusion, let's review our analysis and how it may impact a firm's decision on whether or not to do business in Finland. Because Finland is even more politically free and has a higher rule of law than the United States, businesses attempting to move into the Finnish market should not anticipate many political barriers to entry and can expect that rules and contracts will be enforced and upheld. With a comparatively lower unemployment rate, steadily increasing GDP, a robust export sector, and a relatively high level of economic freedom, foreign businesses should feel confident about entering the Finnish market. The significant differences between the United States and Finland when it comes to individualism, masculinity, and uncertainty avoidance will drive effective management and leadership processes amongst Finnish employees. Businesses also need to consider the significant differences between countries when it comes to family leave policies, as the scope of leave expectations vary greatly between the two nations. With the U.S. spending a drastically higher amount in research and development and publishing significantly more technological and scientific journal articles, American companies may find that they have a competitive edge over Finnish competitors who have had far less of an impact in these areas. Any foreign country doing business in Finland would need to consider that Finland is currently ranked the greenest country in the world, and would need to be cognizant of how their production processes and waste facilities may impact the environmental indicators on which Finland currently excels. Finally, firms considering Finland as a foreign market should be satisfied by the high levels of physical and intellectual property rights, as they promote a climate conducive to entrepreneurship, innovation, and prosperity. We hope that you have enjoyed this pestle analysis of Finland and now feel more prepared when making business decisions regarding this country. Thank you for joining us, and heippa, goodbye!